Welcome, everybody, to the Breakthrough Moment podcast. Today, we have special guest Stephen Jaenke here. Thanks for jumping on, Stephen.
No, thanks for having me.
Super excited for this. For those of you who don't know Stephen, he's actually an author, but he's also an owner of Digimark, which is a marketing company specializing in SEO for law firms. And his company's won all these amazing awards nationally and internationally. So these guys are kicking massive goals. And he's also a judge on the Australian Web Awards, which is the awards where people's websites get critiqued and judged. And so he lives and breathes this topic of SEOs and online marketing. So I was super excited for this. For those of you who are joining us for the first time with the podcast, the Breakthrough Moment podcast is all around sharing successful entrepreneurs' pivotal moment and breakthrough that they had that allowed them to go into the next level of success. And as they share their breakthroughs, us at home can have breakthroughs as well. So without further ado, mate, love for you to jump in and share, a bit of your story and some of your breakthrough moments.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Once again, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. And when you reached out, I thought, yeah, absolutely. This sounds like a lot of fun. So much appreciated. Before I went through and started the marketing company, I was actually a nurse for several years. So there was a big breakthrough moment for me with that particular career choice. And I'll talk about another one as well, which I think will be more useful for the entrepreneurs who are already out there doing their thing. But for those people that sort of on the fence, they're not sure whether or not they want to make the leap and jump into creating their own business, I think that this will be a little bit helpful. So I'd been nursing for several years, and with this particular patient that really changed it for me. I'd seen them 4 times that year, and every visit it was the same pattern over and over again. They'd start to feel better, they'd stop taking their medications, they'd end up in hospital, would restart their medications, it would send them home, they'd feel better, and so on and so forth. This time was different though. This time they had damaged their heart. So it wasn't looking good. I was feeling drained already. Nursing is a difficult job. They don't get compensated well enough. They're overworked half of the time. And while I was already feeling drained from this particular patient, because we would eventually end up saying goodbye to them. An elderly lady was rushed in after having a stroke at her grandson's wedding. And then that was just it for me. I was like, no, the family was there. They were all in their finest. It was just, I was done. It just seems like I was surrounded by death. Like patients were dying. We tried to stop them, but they kept on doing it. Colleagues, their marriages were just falling apart because of the stress and the hours, and it was just, it was enough. I knew something had to be done, and thankfully a friend came in and asked if I could help him create a website for his new business. I had built websites when I was at school as part of a traineeship, and so I said yes. Really enjoyed it. Found that joy, to be a little bit cliched, came back into my life. And it was like a light switched on inside of me. It was like, yeah, this is what I need to be doing. Even though to some degree I felt like I was not doing right by my patients, I found that the impacts that I could provide through this path was going to be so much more impactful, to use the same word twice. So that led me down the path of creating the marketing company. Eventually, like I had to learn all of these various different techniques to actually make it profitable for the clients that I was taking on. And I failed often, and it was often. There were years where I was working, both nursing and learning these things, and taking on a few clients, and I just couldn't get it right. And I'd heard over and over again, it's systems, all about systems. I'd heard it in business books, in articles, in videos, you name it. But none of it clicked until I read, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, the E-Myth Revisited. It's pretty popular. But it finally, it broke down what a system actually was. And it suddenly hit me. It was that aha moment where I was like, oh, right, that's what it is. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I get there eventually. Before that, I was trying to scale by hiring VAs, but things just were falling through the cracks. I was onboarding new clients, but that generally meant sending them an invoice and then doing a site audit and then going from there. I didn't have an actual process. Nothing was sustainable, and it certainly wasn't scalable. After that book, I knew I needed real processes, repeatable, reliable steps for every part of the business, something so that it wasn't just me trying to work this business. It was something that was a well-oiled machine that allowed me to focus on growing the business instead of being trapped in the day-to-day grind. I just said a lot of things. So,
Yeah, no, well said. No, that's super interesting. I think a lot of people can relate to transitioning from a job into doing their own business, and the slog and the mindset jump, as well as the time commitment jump. And, you think it's going to create more freedom, but usually it's more, less freedom. But, the rewards can be so sweet at the end once you nail it with your systems and things. So that's really interesting. I'd love to know, what would be some piece of advice that you'd give someone who might be in the similar position that you were, regarding they're in a job, they're like, oh, I can't keep doing the Groundhog Day, but they have that idea, they really want to get it off the ground. What advice would you have for them?
the first thing is education. Uh, Going and reading these books have just completely made the path a lot easier. I focused on the operational side, learning how to do the work. But I think that learning how to run a business has been much more important for being able to achieve the success that we have managed to achieve. Specifically, making sure that you're reading books around how to keep the profitability in your business. The number of times where I thought that we were actually making money, but then I came across some really helpful people who are accountants, become best friends with your accountant, and a CFO as well, who was a virtual CFO is what they're called these days. And he basically just went through and like, look, it looks like you're making money, but then there's all of this other stuff. So you're not actually making any money. And like, oh, well, that checks out. That's why I don't have a boat and all of these various other things that I was promised by becoming a business owner.
For sure, for sure. So moving forward, like the mindset jump from, going from, I guess, the employee mindset to then an employee to employer mindset, is a big jump. So what's really the change in mindset that you have now compared to what you had then, would you say?
That's probably been the biggest thing that stays with you for a while. At least that's been my experience. As you go through school, you're basically trained to be an employee, and then you go into work and you're treated like an employee because that's what you are. And then you decide, okay, well, I'm going to do my own thing for whatever reason. Most of the time it's because I want to be my own boss. So then you start a business, but then you're an employee of that business. So then you don't really change. And it looks like you are this business person who started this business, But realistically, you are still the employee. It's not until you actually start to go, my job, my job as a business owner is to make money for the business so that I can hire people that can do the job better than I can so that I can provide my clients with a better outcome. Because I might be good at that job, but I can't do all of it. And the clients in the end are the ones that suffer because of that. Because of my ego, for so long, I held on to things and thought to myself, no, because the VAs were dropping stuff and not getting it done well enough, there was sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy in there as well, where it all just fed back into that I need to do this in order for it to be done right. But as soon as I started putting those systems in place, writing down the process that I actually wanted them to go through and teaching them what I wanted them to do, everything just smoothed out. And I started to delegate things. And it's given me the opportunity where I went to a sales meeting just before this. And I, at the same time, had one of my employees going in and fixing a thing with the website. And I got back and he said, that's done now. So it's like, I bought time. I bought time. And I think that shift in being able to hand stuff over and go, I need you to do this, and I trust that you're going to do it well. That's fundamental. And I don't think that there's anything that you can read. I don't think that there's anything that you can watch. It's just a matter of getting to that point that you go, I can't do this myself. I didn't sign up for this. And then it just switches to I need to let go of a little bit of this control and move on from there.
That's a really good point, is buying time, having employees or a team that helps to support following the systems, which saves time for yourself and frees that up and allows more impact, and allowing the team members to stay in their genius, which allows you to stay more in your genius, which is a win-win. You know, there's people that are great at so many different things, and why not put them in the right position, the right seat? And then, letting go of control. And that's a big shift for me. Is like, oh, I thought I was the one that would get the results in every department, but then that was quite limiting because it didn't let me do my best work in some of the key areas that I'm really good at. So it's like, why not put a team together and let go of that control? So that's a really good one. So I'm super curious as well, like, you've been in this journey for quite some time. You've been in this space for a long time as well. If you could go back in time and change just one thing, what would that one thing be?
I think I've thought about this a lot, because it's one of those things, right? It's like, what if you could do anything? What would you do differently? I've got two answers for that. I know that you asked for one, but I'm basically just thinking about it now. The main thing that I would do would be to go back to 2012 when I saw Bitcoin originally. I went, this is big. I need to do something here. And then I went back and started playing Eve online. So yeah, I knew it was going to be something. It became something. I did not do anything about it. So, it is what it is. It can't go back, unless we create a time machine, but then that comes with its own little grandpa things as well. On more of a business related note, I would have gotten into AI a lot sooner. I mean, it's a buzzword at the moment, but it is huge. I mean, I've been looking at AI agents, which is the next step along, where you take GPT, right, and then you give it actions. So it's huge. And if I had gotten into it sooner, I think that we would be a lot further along. Not to say that like we've systemized so much and automated so much, and we've integrated AI into Digimark, but I think it would be a lot further ahead than where we're currently at.
That's I can relate a lot to both of those. For sure. I agree. It's that first one, Bitcoin, of course. That's the biggest regret. Anyway, we all got to choose how we play, and yeah, this is the importance of financial literacy and being ahead of the crowd and being in the right rooms at the right time. So I'm wanting to know, yeah, what are some predictions you have with AI for the future of your industry?
Yeah, it's pretty bleak. So a lot of people in 1996, people said that SEO was going to die. That was in 1996. So it's been one of those things that people have predicted over and over and over and over again. But I do actually think that it's got a shelf life. And I think that that is the case because the way that people are searching is evolving with AI. So they're moving more towards asking ChatGPT how to do like they're looking for recipes. They're asking various different questions to ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, etc. If they're not going to a search engine, or to put it a different way, if AI becomes the search engine, then how do you optimize for search engines? Um, you could go in the direction of, yeah, well, we'll have AIO, which is artificial intelligence optimization, but yeah, um, I think that it will realistically evolve into brand building. I mean, that's fundamentally what we've been doing for the last 5 years anyway. We're building out content that's supposed to be more engaging and meaningful, and we're doing a lot of digital PR as well, which is getting media attention to this content. So that the end goal will probably change as to what we want to achieve from those particular tasks. Rather than to rank better in Google, it'll be to raise more awareness of the brand itself. But yeah, I don't think that SEO's got a long shelf life.
That's a bit of a sigh there, hey? Gosh. No, I appreciate the honesty. That's quite interesting. Yeah, if you're not going to search but you use AI, then there's going to be some kind of shift. Interesting. What would be the main message you want to impart today after, people listening to the podcast?
Yeah. So one thing that I see over and over again, and it comes and goes with myself as well, is self-doubt. People tend to put a ceiling on what they believe they can achieve, and that ceiling is often based on their own sense of what's possible for them. The truth is, though, it's all a blank canvas. I like the quote from Steve Jobs, when you grow up, what is it? When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way that it is, or something like that. But fundamentally, what he's trying to say is everything has been built by someone. Apart from trees and all that sort of thing, like the buildings that we live in, that we work in, the internet, the screen that we're talking to each other through, everything was once upon a time an idea that someone went, I'm not sure that'll work, but let's give it a go anyway. Um, it's such a powerful message because it reminds us that the limits we think exist are often self-imposed. Um, and that once we realize that, the possibilities are endless.
100%. I love that quote. That's a powerful quote. One of my favorites for sure. Um,
Shit.
yeah, what is it? Yeah, it's talking about people who things in the world that are made by someone else. So why not be one of those people and change it and shift it up. Such a great quote. Do you have any book recommendations? Any or juicy resources people should go and check out that are going to help them on their business journey at all?
Yeah, there's heaps of books that are really useful. Some that I've found to be the most useful though, Profit First. Everyone says that they should read that, but they never actually do. It wasn't until I started reading that I went, oh, this profit thing isn't really about making money. It's about putting that money back in and creating a better product fundamentally. You can't do those things unless you have that resource. And if doing the thing actually takes all of the resource, you don't go anywhere. The E-Myth Revisited, it's brilliant. If you're a bit of a list/systems person, systems thinking is a good book. It's not really to do with business, but it gets you thinking about various different systems and looks at the world as a system. I really liked that. Um, yeah, philosophy books I could go on, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, nice. I haven't read that book, Systems Thinking, but that's going to be a crucial piece of the puzzle for entrepreneurs. Final question, and then I'd love you to introduce how people can get in touch and collaborate and work with you. Who do you help the most? If you could challenge the audience today to go out and do something or suggest or push them in a certain direction, what would that challenge be?
Okay. All right. Here's what I think. And it's probably just because I'm doing it at the moment. But just take a step back and really look at what you want to achieve. Like forget about society's expectations, your responsibilities, any financial limitations just for a moment. Strip it all away and just focus on that one thing that you truly want your life to be about. Um, to get a little bit philosophical, that's really why we're here, right? To write our own story. I mean, there's lots of different beliefs out there, but I think fundamentally, regardless of what you believe or what creator you believe in or don't believe in, we're all here writing our own story. So let's take a peek at the ending and picture how it actually all turns out. And if you don't like what you see, then make the decision to chart a new course. I mean, you have the power to rewrite the narrative at any point. The key is to recognize you're the one holding the pen. I did it, and I'm looking at doing it again as well. So you're never too old. I mean, the KFC, Colonel Sanders was 80 when he started KFC. There's so many examples out there that you're never too old. You can always change and change and change again. Simon Sinek talks about how some of the best people I think it's Simon Sinek, some of the best people he knows are 40 and have no idea what they want to do. They're still trying to figure it out. Yeah, that's the challenge. Actually have a look at what you want your life to be about.
For sure. And you said start with the end in mind, for sure. 100%. Couldn't agree more. Great. How can people get in touch? Who is it that you help them? How do you help them? And what are the problems that you solve?
So the biggest problem I solve is around brand awareness, mostly with law firms. We are dipping our toes into AI consultancy, so I'm starting to talk a lot more about that. Best place to connect with me is on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there, and if you can just share my LinkedIn details with that, if that's all right.
Absolutely.
If not, that's fine too.
Oh no, all your links. The links will be around here. Definitely connect with Stephen, guys, for sure.
Awesome. And yeah, I'm pretty open. If you want to send a connection request, let's have a chat. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Well, appreciate this time of yours. I know you're busy and got lots going on. And yeah, this has been very insightful. I think really the key theme for today is the importance of our mindset, and leaning into supporting ourselves even if we got the self-doubt, and really just taking that jump and realizing it's not going to be easy all the time, like what you've shared, and I can totally relate. It's just honest, it's not all sunshine and rainbows every day, but if you stick at it, massive impact and change can happen. So really appreciate it, Stephen, and yeah, appreciate you jumping on the podcast today.
Thanks so much. Thanks.